Oscars committee is giving rewards to one garbage after another. Whether it be Sinners or One Battle After Another, both movies suck. They suck in different ways, to a different degree, but they suck. The Sinners is essentially a black nationalist horror fantasy movie where they follow the same thick tradition of portraying Southerners, white Southerners as evil, and including the Irish. I don't know why this time the Irish had to be the villains. They usually try to portray Irish as the victims, as noble freedom fighters when it comes to the British. But I guess all of a sudden when they transplanted them into the Jim Crow South, they became villains and vampires and all that. But essentially it's the continuation of Mr. Coogler's black nationalist cinema tradition, but more artistic than the other ones, maybe in some ways, although it doesn't really reach the level of suspense that typically horror movies should. The cinematography is not boring. They're showing some action, they're showing some cool southern landscapes too, and portraying the lives of black people there, which looks more realistic, how they lived and how they talk to each other and their relationships, and the way they talk seems authentic, and completely different culture, Ebonics language and gestures and the way that they communicate and carry themselves. So you kind of get a sense of authenticity from that. And there's some action and some suspense, but in its essence, it's still a continuation of this Black Panther series, etc., where Mr. Coogler chooses to hire the overwhelming majority of black actors to be in his movie, and he is portraying black people as victims, never portraying them as evil aggressors or as people who are involved in some kind of wrongdoing. There is a point in the movie when one of the brothers, played by Michael B. Jordan, is exposed in terms of his psyche. He believes in money, and he is told by his ex that these are dirty money, that you made that money killing people essentially, and so these money are no good, and you lost your moral compass, so to speak. And she makes him think twice. She makes him reflect on his wrongdoing, previous wrongdoing when he was a gang member in Chicago. I feel like that was the point of that scene. But overall, even though the movie is watchable, you can watch it. You don't get bored, you don't fall asleep. I was able to finish the movie, but I'm sorry, but it doesn't rise to the level of previous Oscars awards that tended to really reward true artistic talent instead of being politically correct. But that was the old Oscars that we really respected, and we really looked forward to watching the ceremony. Now the new Oscars is completely different. It's all ideological. They want as many black people visible in that ceremony as possible because they've been accused of being too white, and so they're going out of their way, doing whatever they can to basically make it a black nationalist show. And so the non-black and non-liberal crowd basically tunes out because we don't connect with this. It's going to be like a liberal party basically, and for the liberal inner circle, for liberal audiences that are celebrating this, but the rest of us can safely tune out. And that's not how it used to be with Oscars. Especially in the 90s, Oscars really supported its reputation as something special. The highest accomplishment for the filmmaker was to get Oscars. Right now, if people like Coogler get Oscar awards, is pretty much for political reasons. But we do need to acknowledge that he still is very successful at the box office. With Black Panther, for example, was extremely successful. And not to say that he is a terrible filmmaker. Just because he's a black nationalist filmmaker doesn't mean he's terrible, because he did succeed in the box office, and he does make movies that are suspenseful enough, colorful enough, visually pleasing to be able to watch them. So he should get some credit, but I don't think it rises to the level of Oscars. When the Oscars didn't lose his mind yet, when the Oscars were still sane, it doesn't rise to those standards. It's not too hard to rise to the standards of today's Oscars as long as you're a black filmmaker, and that is kind of sad for the rest of us.